Today I want to share with you 12 goals for your first year in recovery. Now, this is typically information that I share with my one-on-one clients who've worked with me for 90 days or a couple of months, or even in my 30-day JUMPSTART program, which is a 30-day intensive coaching and accountability program. And when they've made significant progress in their recovery, they understand themselves, they eventually become experts at themselves. The next thing is to prepare them for their first year. And many men do not know what to look out for in their first year because a lot of information on the internet trains them to follow willpower. And this can sometimes cause a man to believe that if he hasn't watched porn or masturbated for, let's say, 60 days or 30 days or 90 days or 6 months, that he's free. And many men are shocked when they get to a year and they slip, or they get to a year and they relapse. There are a few goals that if you achieve these goals, or at least if you keep them in mind, they're really going to help during that first year of recovery. And since it's the beginning of the year, I thought, hey, there's no better time to share it with you guys. So here we go. 12 goals for your first year in recovery. The first goal is to accept the fact that you are rebooting. If you're one of those guys who doesn't accept the fact that he is struggling with an addiction to porn or masturbation, if you're one of those guys who just thinks it's a bad habit, and if you can stay off it for 30 days, that somehow proves that you have control over it, well, you're in for a nasty surprise. You're going to find out that you keep slipping, and a lot of the symptoms that you've been experiencing from this out of control behavior are going to be still very much a part of your life. So my suggestion to you is accept the fact that you are rebooting, and in this process, you not only have to rewire your brain, but you have to go back and regain all the things that you have lost to this addiction in your social life, in your spiritual life, in your intellectual life, in your physical health. All those things need to be gained, and you're not going to get back all of those things in a 1-month period. So take this seriously. There's no shame in recovering from porn or masturbation addiction. The second is avoid high-risk situations. Now, this goes without saying, and it sounds like common sense. Unfortunately, many men who are struggling with porn and masturbation addiction seem to forget, and I experienced this for many years myself, that there are certain situations that are guaranteed to cause us to slip, and it varies for each man. Some men going out and partying and drinking alcohol is a high-risk situation for you. It is going to lead to a slip. For some other men, it is spending time on social media. Some of you know that if you're on Facebook or if you're on Instagram, it's almost guaranteed that you are going to slip. So please, if you know what those situations are, make an effort to avoid them. The third is practice honesty in your life. I've said it over and over again, porn addicts are liars. One of the first values that disappears from our life is that of telling the truth. I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say you're on your phone and you're watching pornography, and you told somebody, a friend of yours, that you were going to meet them somewhere at a specific time. But you're in the zone, you're watching pornography, you're edging, and you're enjoying yourself. And your friend calls your phone and that interrupts your porn viewing. So you send him to voicemail. He keeps calling, it's just annoying. Anyway, you finish, you ejaculate, you later on go meet your friend and you meet him late, and he tells you, dude, I was calling you so many times. What were you doing? Are you gonna tell him, nah man, I was watching porn and you just interrupted me? You're not. You're going to lie, and you're going to do it very easily. You're going to say like, dude, I didn't get your call. I have no idea what happened. I guess it just went to voicemail. My phone's like that sometimes. Whatever you say, you're going to lie. And that's a very simple thing. It's an example of one of those things that we just don't even think of. We lie so easily. We've been lying to our parents about what we were doing. We've been lying to our wives. We've been lying to our partners. We've been lying to our boss. If somebody finds porn on someone's device and they're like, were you the one who used this device? We immediately deny it. I have no idea how that got on there. I don't know. It must be a virus. You know the lies. You've been there. So start practicing honesty. because especially those of you who are married, those of you who are in committed relationships, this is not helping you, because I guarantee you that this habit of lying that you picked up from your behavior with porn and masturbation is going to sabotage your relationship. The fourth is learn how to ask for help. Men are notorious for thinking that they can do everything on their own. Asking for help for this behavior does not make you a weakling. It doesn't make you a pussy. It doesn't make you any less of a man. You are not weaker than any man. In fact, the funny thing is that you become stronger, and your strength lies in reaching out for help, because you are going to progress in your goals faster than you can. Let me tell you this. Those of you who are reluctant to seek help, not because of shame, but because your ego is too big to let you seek out help, because you're too smart for your own good. You've been struggling with this for 5 years, 6 years, but you really think you can do it on your own? I guarantee you that this is holding you back in other areas of your life. I guarantee you you're most likely struggling in your relationships with women, in your career, in your finances, in your social life. It is going to show up. You don't seek help with anything because you think you've got it. Get out of that stubborn mindset and start asking for help. You can ask me for help. You can get on a free call with me. You can go out there and find somebody. You can reach out to a therapist or a counselor, but seek help from somebody. Watching the video is not enough. Listening to a podcast is not enough. Reading a book is not enough. Can you do it on your own? Yes, you can. Maybe. And even if you did, it's going to take a long time. It's going to take years. Why do that when you can reach out for help and accomplish what would take 3 years in 6 months, right? Value your time and do that. That leads us to the fifth point, and that is that there are many paths to recovery. The most difficult one is doing it alone. It doesn't matter how you recover. You can recover using the porn reboot system. You can recover by working with a therapist or a counselor. You might even recover by going through a 12-step program. That's absolutely fine. Religion could help you. Whatever you do, it's okay. The point is, doing it alone is not a system, all right? Why are you wasting your time? If you're over 30 years old, quit fucking around. You know, the guys who are 18 years old, 19 years old, yeah, they have time to try things out on their own. You're 30 years old, you're over 30, and there are certain things that you should have achieved in life by now, but you haven't. And the reason why you haven't is because you're still going at this alone. So understand that that is not a recovery system, doing it on your own. The sixth is practice accountability before you get urges. Accountability is a habit that you want to build up early, and you want to stay accountable, not just to your urges, not reaching out to someone and saying, hey bro, I have urges, I feel like I'm about to act out. No, learn what your triggers are. If stress, boredom, fatigue, loneliness, frustration are your triggers, then start staying accountable when you are feeling that way. Don't wait for it to get too late, because at that point, you're almost at the point of no return. When you develop the habit of identifying the situations that lead to your triggers, you put yourself in a place to start using coping skills to deal with those situations. When you're bored, you have a coping skill to deal with it. When you're stressed out, you have a coping skill for that. When you're lonely, you know what to do. And your accountability partner keeps you accountable on those things, because the truth is, you're not going to feel like doing those things. If you're lonely, you're not going to feel like going out there and meeting people. You want to isolate and be alone and put yourself in a high-risk situation. The habit to build is reaching out to your accountability partner at that time. That's how recovery works. The seventh is make time to be at peace with your recovery. And what I mean by this is recovery can be something that we come to resent, especially when there are different steps that we have to take, especially when there are books we have to read, especially when there are people we have to be accountable to. And sometimes when you look around at other people and how they are seemingly enjoying their life and moving forward, you might feel resentful and wonder, why me? Why do I have to do all these things? And sometimes when you don't keep that in check, that can cause you to just dump everything in your recovery and go like, you know what, I just want to be a normal guy, and take on irrational thoughts and irrational beliefs, such as, if I just stop thinking about it and making it a big deal, then it's going to go away. No, that's going to lead to a relapse. My suggestion is that you take time out every day, even if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, every day or every other day, to sit down and make peace with your recovery. This means sit down and journal and write and remind yourself of what your goals are. Remind yourself of why you are doing this. Never lose track of that. Always remind yourself like, hey, I'm doing this because a year from now, I want to propose to my girlfriend. Because 2 years from now, I want to have children with these women. Because I'm trying to start a business and porn has taken away my focus and my motivation. And I need that in order to advance in my career. Whatever it is, remind yourself and renew your commitments to your recovery. 15 minutes a day is fine. Personally, when I was in recovery, I had a morning routine, and every single morning I wrote out my goals and I reminded myself of why I was in recovery. The same will work for you. Next is celebrate your small victories. Celebrate those little wins. I know that there are some days where everything seems like it's absolutely shit. You're like, today was a failure, I slipped, or I edged, or I watched porn, and then you beat yourself up. Get into the habit of celebrating the little victories. That is the secret to making progress in your recovery. Many men beat themselves up and only focus on the negatives. Oh yeah, I was in recovery, but I edged the other day. I slipped. That's a bad thing, you know? Or, many men form the habit of beating themselves up. Oh, I had a wet dream. Oh, I had so many urges today and I looked at porn. I didn't masturbate, but I peeked a little bit at porn, or I spent 1 hour searching for a way to break through my filter or hack my filter or get on somebody else's device. But at the end of the day, you didn't slip. You didn't masturbate, but you came really close to doing that. Stop counting that. Instead, count the fact that you didn't give into it. And even if you did and it was just a slip, count the win that you did not relapse. You must have wins every day. Now here's the thing. I've always used the analogy of your self-esteem in recovery being like a bank. Every time you say you're going to do something and you do it, you've made a deposit. And every time you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, you've made a withdrawal. So what happens when you have more withdrawals than deposits into this bank account? Well, you get overdrawn, you're negative. And many of us just keep getting negative. We take 2 steps forward and we take 6 steps back. And that's because it's a habit we've built. In Porn Reboot, we don't do that. What we do is that every single day, we find and record 3 wins. Every day, a deposit is made into your recovery account. So that means that at the end of every day, you make time to sit down before you go to bed and you write out what are 3 wins for today, no matter how tiny they are. A win could be rolling out of bed and not hitting the snooze button. A win could be approaching the pretty girl in the grocery store and telling her hi. All those things are wins, and I want you to build the habit of searching for them, because unless you can find the tiny wins in your life now, you're not going to be able to find and identify the big wins in your life later. You risk becoming one of those guys who has so many wonderful things in his life, but is unhappy. Next, develop healthy eating and sleeping habits. If you're one of those guys who goes to sleep anytime between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m., it's going to be really difficult to recover. You have to maintain your biochemistry. Eating junk food, being addicted to sugar, going to sleep whenever you want because you're up watching Netflix or playing video games or fucking around with something that is irrelevant to your goals, that doesn't help you. It is very important to eat healthy, eat on schedule, and sleep enough and sleep consistently. I say it again and again, I am a hypocrite in this area, not the food, the sleep. The reason why is because I have a mission, and my mission does not allow me to sleep much. So I'm excited. If I lay in bed, I'm so excited about what I'm going to do the next day that I'll just sleep for like 4 or 5 hours and I'm good to go. So if you're like that, kudos, do that. But I will add one thing. It is important that if you're not getting 7 to 8 hours or more of sleep, that you at least stay consistent with the hours when you go to bed. That consistency is very, very important. You have to have an excellent diet if you're living that type of lifestyle, and you must be in great physical shape. You must take care of your body. My lifestyle was not like that during the first 2 years of my recovery. I was getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, and I was eating very healthy. So I highly recommend you do the same. Next is discover how to have fun that does not involve porn and masturbation. There are hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of things that you can do for fun which release dopamine. And if you have this fear of, what am I going to do without pornography? Where am I going to get this pleasure from? I remember I used to have this fear of, what am I going to do without porn? Where am I going to entertain myself or find this type of pleasure? Let me assure you that in life, there are so many things that are more fulfilling, infinitely more fulfilling than porn and masturbation. And you have to learn how to enjoy yourself, and even better, enjoy yourself with things which are coping skills. For me, one of these things has been exercise. Exercise, going to the gym, working out, challenging myself, even my work has become something that brings me an intense amount of pleasure. And yes, I still get sexual urges. I still get turned on. I'm not some kind of robot or asexual man. But I've learned how to transmute that energy into the work I do, into my enthusiasm, into my goals, into the gym. And you can learn how to do that too. But it begins by bringing other enjoyable activities that release dopamine into your life. And finally, become part of some type of recovery community. This is so important, brothers. All right, that is the first step. You're online, you're watching this. My suggestion to you is find some type of group. Get plugged in, but not any group. A group that has results, where guys are actually not only staying off pornography and masturbation, but living the type of life you want to live. One of the mistakes that I see men make is they're just like, you know what, if I can end my behavior with porn and masturbation, everything is going to work out for me. No. If you want to achieve more in life, you've got to find the guys, the groups where people in there are living the life that you want to live. That's the shortcut to accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish when you've controlled your behavior with porn and masturbation. That's what I did. I didn't just look for mentors who had quit porn and masturbation. If I wanted that, I could go to a 12-step group and go sit down with guys who had been off porn, masturbation, and controlling their sexual behaviors for 11, 12 years, but were coming to those groups every single week, every month of every year. And they weren't living the life I wanted to live. They weren't highly successful. They weren't dating the type of women that I wanted to date. They weren't doing the things or having the mindset that I aspired to. I did not want to be a broken man. I did not want to be a man who was forever in recovery. And if you do not want to be that type of man, then find that group that has the men that you aspire to be like. A great place to start is with our free Facebook group. We do have a paid one, which is the Porn Reboot Intensive, but start with a free Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group. We have guys who are looking for accountability partners. I shoot live videos and offer training in there. Join it. So click on the link in the description of this video and join our Facebook group, all right? Now, you don't have to join the Facebook group, but if you can find a group of achievers, please do it. If you're already part of a group that is helping you to end your behavior with porn and masturbation, but you look at the guys who've recovered and they are nice people, but they're not the type of people that you aspire to be, then find yourself a group that may not have anything to do with recovery, but has the type of men that you want to be like. You need to be around those people to elevate your mindset and the way you think in order to achieve those things. All right? So that's what I have for you today. Some goals to achieve in your first year of recovery. Now, since it's the beginning of the year, I do have a special gift that I'd like to share with you. I'm hosting a free training called How to Make 2019 Your Best Year Ever. And what I'm going to be sharing with you is not just about recovery from porn addiction, but how to accomplish your top goals in 2019 without excuses. No, like, oh, I kind of achieved some of my goals in 2019 and I'll hit the rest in the beginning of 2020. None of that. Some of you set some New Year's resolutions and have already started breaking them. You need a system. I'm big on systems. I do have a system. It has worked for me for many years, and it has transformed my life, and it has worked for many of my clients. The link to join that free training is in the description below, and as soon as you register for that live training, you'll get access to a wonderful journal and 2019 calendar that is designed with the system that you can use for the entire year to hit your goals. I'm really excited about this. I only host this in January. It doesn't really make much sense to do it in February, so I hope you'll take advantage of it. I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Have a wonderful day. Why it is even your duty to control all your out of control behaviors, especially that with pornography, masturbation, and sex, if it's a problem for you. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I am so appalled at the number of men who reach out to me over the age of 30. I'll give some guys over 25 a pass. But those of you over the age of 30, like, holy shit. I got into this mindset where I really started to believe that I might never be in a relationship, that I might never have sex. And this frustration kind of led me to watch more and more porn, So the first is your level of addiction. Now, the level of your addiction plays a role in determining when you can masturbate during recovery. And if you aren't sure what your level is, I highly recommend watching my video on the levels of porn addiction. It's also called Why Is It So Hard to Quit Porn?